Hello, James Williams, Director of Programmes, back with you. Well, yesterday, if you were with us on September the 14th, day one of MEF CONNECTS Wholesale, you would have bore witness to the shortest ever discussion during a live MEF event, and that was 60 seconds. And joining me for that was Suzy Menneret, who manages our wholesale working group, part of the connectivity ecosystem. And I'm pleased to say that Suzy will have more than 60 seconds today. So a very warm welcome, Suzy Menneret. Hi.
Hello, James, and thank you very much for allowing a much greater session this time.
I know, but we did it. We did it in 60 seconds, and I don't think anyone else will be able to beat us in history. Some may give it a go, but I don't think they will. Anyway, I'll leave this session to you, all about automation in the area of wholesale, and thanks for putting this together.
Thank you very much, James, and thank you for the first two panels we've had with Nitin and the latest one with Isabel and her superstars. It's a good challenge to be following up on this, but it's also a good transition because we heard a lot about transformation and how wholesalers are looking into tapping into new areas, including the wholesale retail segment, and certainly automation will have a big play in this. So to be able to discuss automation as a whole, I'm really delighted to have three great guests with me. I'd like to welcome Shahar Steiff on stage. Shahar, hello.
Hello,
good to
everyone.
see you. So Shahar has many roles, but he's joining us today with his AVP New Technologies at PCCW Global. Welcome.
Thank you.
We also have the privilege to have Eran Haggiag. I hope I pronounced your surname right, Eran. Eran is the co-founder of Clear Blockchain Technologies. Hi, Eran.
Hello.
So ClearX, thank you very much for joining. And last but not least, we have Friedrich Rico Suppan. Friedrich is the head of Procurement, Solutions Design and Presales at Telekom, Austria. So Shahar, as you can see, we still have Austrian Alps on the background, which is great stuff. Thank you very much for joining us with this session today. You all share something in common, which is the CBAN initiative, which is the Communications Business Automation Network, which is an initiative and, if I believe, an entity developed under the helm of the Global Leadership Forum. So that initiative very much being geared towards looking at how emerging technologies can support the global wholesale ecosystem. The reason why I wanted to have this session, and I'm glad you accepted discussing this, is very often, or over the last few years, automation is very often seen as a way to optimize costs or fixing administrative or lengthy processes and internal burdens. So having that kind of I don't want to say negative, but that kind of twist, whereas automation, and we've seen over the last day how automation is getting more and more important in our industry, but having a sort of a brighter touch on it and a brighter outlook, if I can say it this way. So the first question I have for you is, that's my perception of automation, obviously, but I would like to hear you about what is your perception of automation. So maybe starting with Shahar.
I think the opening remarks earlier are a great example of what automation is, right? There was typically a panel takes like 20 to 40 minutes, and they were talking about a panel discussion earlier or yesterday that took only 60 seconds. And I think this is what automation is about, right? Turning things from the old manual ways into automated processes, which happen much faster. It happens faster, less errors. It's a robot that's doing the job. It's not a human, and humans make errors inadvertently. So it simply accelerates everything. And if you correctly automate multiple processes together and able to link them together, you're able to automate not only a single item or single element in a process, but you're actually able to automate the entire process from start to end. If we look at the typical wholesale telecom activity takes between a week and a month, sometimes even longer than that. If you take at a typical, this is the mobile ecosystem forum, right? A typical mobile ecosystem activity, it takes a few seconds. You just dial and it dials in, or you just click a button. We're trying to bridge those two together and bring the telecom industry, the traditional wholesale telecom industry, up to speed with current technology, which will require things to happen really fast. And without automation, that would not happen.
Eran, your take from your perspective.
Okay, so first of all, I'm glad to be here. I feel that my video is a bit in delay. I don't know if you see the same thing or not. So hopefully you see it live. So I think automation is one of the most important things that computers and software allows us to do. And by having automation, we can streamline processes. We can create much more complex things that when you don't have automation, you need to have a lot of human intervention, which create a lot of errors and a lot of problems that are happening. And by enabling automation within companies and between companies, we can create greater and greater solutions that enables us to solve harder problems. I think that within the telecom industry, automation is a key element in the evolution of telcos and the ability to create this new experience and solutions. And when we look at a bit outside of the telecom industry to the cloud providers and other big tech companies, we can see how automation created new business models and prosperity, and how important it is to have automations within everything we do.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So it's looking at certainly a way to bring further developments and further opportunities in the industry. From a procurement, so looking at you, Friedrich, obviously you are very much interested in automation with your procurement hat. So where do you stand? How do you see things from where you are at A1?
Well, coming from the procurement side, it is always important to understand what the customer needs that we should procure for him. And basically, the customer is interested in getting things at a certain price, basically at a good price, and at a certain speed. So the delivery time is currently, I would say, even the same important than the pricing. And sticking to manual processes, manual work is a lot hindering us in performing speed and bringing speed to the customer and delivering in fast time. So I expect from automation, and in a sense this already, that the automation helps us to speed up things, to get time to market, and to be able to concentrate more on the customer's needs than rather on the slow performance speed of current manual processes in our industry. And this is really what I want to see, and what we need to see coming from an incumbent provider to speed up things and to be maybe equally fast than other carriers and other industry parts that have automation since longer time than we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So looking at, taking your point with the incumbent perspective, and also connecting with what Shahar said earlier of the challenges to provide services in a quicker way. Do you believe, and I'm starting this question towards Shahar, do you believe that automation is a challenge currently in the overall wholesale environment, and particularly for incumbents and others, if you see also a trend there?
Obviously, it is a challenge. I mean, like any new technology or any change or any shift in trend is a challenge. Telcos, incumbents are big ships, and it's difficult to steer them into a new route. But on the other hand, it allows them to become much nimbler ships if they adopt automation. Once they adopt automation and they adapt the development required in order to adopt automation, they become lighter and they're able to shift faster. So the challenge is indeed, I would say, quite huge. It needs buy-in from all stacks in the organization, starting from upper management that needs to say automation is where we want to go. It needs to go through technology, which need to now adapt new methods of development. At PCCW Global, for example, we've adopted a scaled agile framework, Steiff, if you're familiar with that, which is a development mechanism. So the whole company has shifted into Steiff, and it requires also, of course, change from everyone else in the organization, including salespeople who now need to adapt new ways to sell products. Where customers click to buy instead of having to go to the customer and try and sell verbally. And obviously procurement as well, where instead of having to send emails and ask for quotations, you're automatically sending the quote for multiple organizations. Now, it's a big challenge because now you need to manage data differently. You manage multiple amounts of data from multiple sources. If Rico in the past would have to, let's say, get quotes from 5 vendors, 3 vendors, whatever the group requirements require, he would do that because he would have to, but he would not have resources to ask for 20 quotations because that's just too much to process when you're talking about a human process. But if you let the machine do it, the machine can send quotes to all of your vendors, even vendors who are not even close to being able to deliver what you ask for. Maybe one of them will come up with a quote. Maybe it will actually be the best quote that you've missed because you didn't have the resources to send a quote and process the response, even where it comes. So these are challenges that we need to handle when we're migrating from the old legacy processes to the new processes. Thought, technical development, and obviously training the whole stack of the organization to adapt to the new technology.
Yeah, before I come to you, Eran, I'll just like to, I'm curious to see if Rico shares that view. And from being part of A1, is this something that you see? Is this a challenge? What kind of, you see automation as being a challenge, both within within an incumbent organization, but as you deal with other, in a broader ecosystem, I guess that's also, relevant. Or is it? Or isn't it?
I mean, what Shahar said, yes, this is the way forward to automate, especially the processes, of course, between carriers in order to get quotes quickly. But I would also like to focus on an additional benefit of automation. It helps us, I guess, also to standardize. What we see currently is that especially incumbent providers are offering a lot of tailored solution for customers. And of course, this tailored solution requires a lot of manual intervention between carriers in order to set this tailored solution up. But if we come to automation, I think it will also lead us to a stage where we are much more standardized. And if we are standardized, we can also be more quickly and can offer to the customer standardized portfolio that might be aligned between different carriers. And I think this will be also the possibility to leverage a little bit the weight of these heavy ships that Shahar mentioned in the beginning. We will get lighter if we can lose some of these, I would say, complicated solutions. But discussing this quotation process that I'm deeply in with my team, of course, is that I would, in the first stage, see the possibility also to, I would say, automate the standard requests, the small requests, the request from customers here and there for some access in other areas, other countries. But this standardization of this easy to go requests would help us to concentrate more on the big RFPs, on the big challenging demands of customers that have a lot of requests, I would say, for network all over the world. And this, I think, will, for the next time, be still manual, but having the possibility to spend these resources, to spend these manual intervention for negotiations. I would like to get rid of these standard requests and automate them. This would be my goal for the next stage.
Typically free up resources where need be to increase the business. Eran, so from your technology provider eyes, obviously you have a different, I believe I would expect a different view. How do you see the wholesale environment? I mean, these people are your customers, I suppose. And where do you see value in automation, particularly with, I suppose, in your case, blockchain in mind?
Yes. So first of all, I say that the challenge of automation starts even within the organization, and not only on the wholesale between companies, especially as the companies have evolved by buying other companies and not really making the same IT system out of all of them. So it's the same type of challenges even within organizations with global and affiliates as it is within organizations. What we see, and I connect very much to Rico, what you said about automating the simple orders as first, and then allowing to do the more complicated pre-sale work with people that are now more free to do that. I would also connect to the standardization that you mentioned. And I say from one side, standardization is extremely important, but from the other side, it's extremely slow and hard to do. And if we look at the industry, it takes ages to standardize these items to be able to make them work. And what we've learned with our journey is that there is kind of a middle ground. There's a way to create a framework that it makes it very easy to create standardizations that are more ad hoc, that are more between several parties, and then they can evolve to the other industry, starting with something that really works and then allowing others to adopt it, rather than having 20, 30 different telcos trying to agree on a specific standard and a set of fields. We've seen this as a pragmatic way and approach to solve this problem and really create solutions that works and scales. So this is kind of what we learned. Also, we've learned that the wholesale environments have a lot of legacy systems. There are a lot of different generations of systems, and creating this alignment into kind of the integration, the layer that we use, the blockchain, allows the organizations to actually standardize internally into a format that they can then trade with others and also between themselves, and that creates a great way to move forward and to do it kind of service by service or an area by area, rather than trying to do a huge project that never finishes.
Step by step. So very, very interesting. That leads me to a question. Have you seen? So is there a trend in the industry? Is there an automation trend in the industry? Do you see a development? Do you see? And has the last 2 years with the specific COVID situation that we've had, has that had an impact on how automation has developed in companies and in the wholesale ecosystem? Shahar, maybe?
I would say the need for automation certainly accelerated in the recent years, and COVID certainly played a role. And the need for automation was because we're using cloud more and more. We shift from office to office fixed line communications to office to cloud and home to cloud, because people are working from home more and more. It started before COVID. It's not that COVID changed that, but COVID certainly accelerated that. And there's a shift from legacy kinds of communication requirements even from the legacy telcos to being connected to the cloud. Now the cloud poses a challenge, because everything in the cloud is already automated. You order a VM through a click of a button. you change, you move things around. Everything is fully automated through a GUI or whatever it is, and it just happens. And now there's a need to adapt the legacy communication approaches to the new requirements of the cloud, because this is what the customers want. The customers want to shift their services from office to the cloud. They want to shift their own IT from their basement to the cloud, because it makes things faster, probably also more economical. So this is certainly a change that happened. COVID simply accelerated everything, because we were actually forced to work from home, and office was no longer an option, which basically just made also internet-based access to become even more prominent, which then again required having the cloud physically located or topologically located closer to the consumers in order to overcome the drawbacks of internet as a best effort protocol.
Is this something that you also see within A1, Rico? Have you seen a trend developing? Have you the efforts from an incumbent perspective? So the efforts put into automation, has that changed? Have you seen also in the ecosystem of wholesalers initiatives developing along those lines? What's your take on this?
Yes, I can underline what Shahar said. It's a big trend now for our customers to move their whole, I would say, local clouds to the clouds in data centers. When I purchased connectivities for my customers all over the world, we had in the past connectivities to normal addresses, to offices, to branches. But now we have to connect every of these networks to the cloud in several areas of the world. We have to adapt here in order to have this in our portfolio, all these Cloud Connect products. And this is a big trend. What we see currently. What we also see is that the mentioned move to the internet. Yes, what we purchased as a layer 3 VPN in the past as MPLS VPN is now SD-WAN, and SD-WAN, I would say, is also a kind of automation that helps to innovate a lot. Customers have now much more flexibility, much more possibility to steer their network through SD-WAN, and I think although SD-WAN is a long time now on the market, it now, I would say, after COVID, is even more accelerating, and I see a lot of connections from moving from layer 3 VPNs to SD-WAN, and I see there's no stop of this trend.
Yeah, definitely. Eran, how about blockchain in all this? How is what's been the trend in the industry over the last 2 years? Do you see this technology, and from a ClearX perspective, developing? Where what's your views on this? Where are we with blockchain?
Perfect. First of all, it feels really great to now move at the pace of me talking. So I mean, we've seen a really tremendous move in the last 2 years. I mean, from being just an innovation and something people talk about and do POCs about, to becoming a real production system. We have companies like PCCW Global, I called, like Vodafone, like Deutsche Telekom. They already deployed these systems and are working and generating benefits out of them. It matured in the sense that the IT department learned how to work with these technologies and be able to run nodes and run private networks of blockchains among them, understand how these technologies are working and how they provide benefits, understand what it is useful for and what is not useful for, and being able to optimize and iterate on top of that. And I think today this is an infrastructure that exists now between more and more telcos, that we can build more applications, more benefits, and more features on top of this. This became a transactional synchronization layer that allows having both inventory items, handle identity, being able to follow the transactions, create traceability. And this has been a very nice journey to see it's moving from a cool technology into being something that is working and providing value in production.
So it is maturing as a technology within the industry. Are you at a stage now where you sort of mobilizing the ecosystem, or is that your next steps into in terms of?
So we are now, after proving that this is it's working, it's stable, it provides value. We can see disputes time are 4 times faster. We see almost twice as fast payment cycle and stuff like that. Now we are growing in a few directions. From one side, we're growing to more and more products and product lines in different areas within the telcos. We are growing in the life cycle, from the reconciliation settlement area, also towards the ordering and inventory management, eligibility checks and stuff like that. And by increasing these 2 scopes, we are becoming attractive to more and more carriers and operators to join these networks. And I think this is, a good forum to say that now it's a good time for telcos that looked at this, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and it looked like something very far from them. This is the right time to come check again, see the benefits. It's become quite easy to install and join this.
Good. So we talked about blockchain, and I'm curious to hear about automation outside of blockchain. I'm sure that a lot of things are being done in both in A1 and PCCW in terms of automation. What are the initiatives that you guys are putting in place to speed up automation within your organizations and making things simpler for you and your ecosystem partners? Whoever, Shahar, maybe.
I can start. As you can see in my title, just under my chin, you can see PCCW Global and Console Connect. Console Connect is actually our rebranding of our automation project, which is our network automation, which currently supports our internal network and several clouds. So we're able to offer automated connectivity through a click of a button within our own network and into certain clouds, including cloud to cloud. We've also announced a new product called Cloud Router, which allows you to automatically connect multiple clouds together. Now, having said that, this automates our own network. There's still a major challenge automating connectivity into other networks, not into other clouds, into other networks, such as, for example, A1. Our own automation platform and A1's automation platform, if one exists, I don't know if it does, need to be synchronized in one way or another. This is a major challenge because, as Rico earlier said, A1 has their own language, their own silo, their own automation platform, and we have our own. And getting the two to speak together is where we actually need some sort of a honest broker, such as a blockchain and entities such as Clearex, in order to allow the two companies to speak together and trust each other enough to be able to transact across multiple domains in the wholesale industry. So one of the projects which we are running together with Clearex is as Eran mentioned, the network repository, service repository, and the automation of invoicing. A very interesting project, and it's actually already live and running between several carriers, including us. And A1 is also introducing into this project, I guess, in the coming few weeks. They're also in the game. As Eran mentioned, expanding to additional life cycle stages, starting from even things like quoting, ordering, and even troubleshooting. The other MEF, the Metro Ethernet Forum MEF, is developing some APIs and data models that allow automation to be built upon. They don't actually develop any POC or any MVP, but they do develop the underlying tools that enable that to happen. So I think this this is pretty much where our game in the journey is. Rico, what do you want?
Yeah, what I see, coming back to Suzy's question concerning automation without blockchain, well, one of these topics is, for example, this process of quotation that you also mentioned before. For this quotation process, we built basically a portal, and we see this in a lot of carriers, a portal for exactly these quotations, but we connected directly to our portal also a lot of carriers who offer via APIs their infrastructure and then and the respective pricing. So it enables us, first of all, from our stage, to ask for prices and get immediate answers because we have an API connected infrastructure request. And also what we're also implementing now, it will offer also to our customers the possibility to access via our portal also the infrastructure information from other carriers, basically the pricing for a particular location. And this at least is one particular process part, which is the quotation. The next step is then, if we want the customer to be able to order this request, we can, by a click of a button, then order this, and this will process through our systems. So this is nothing to do with blockchain, but is at least an automation which enables us also to be quicker, faster, and react to the customer's requirements. And coming back to these blockchain activities that Shahar mentioned, and of course Eran, is from a procurement perspective, I think it's very interesting to have the contracts in the settlements in this blockchain interfaces that, for example, ClearX offers. But I also see more possibilities of having then the chance to really have quality results and seeing other KPIs sync between carriers. Therefore, it would enable us to, I don't know, do a ranking of providers of the quality of the delivery times, of their of how they stick to the offers. So I think there's a lot of possibilities in when we use these figures and data that we will gather out of this exchange of information.
So
Rico, if I may interject here for a second, thank you for bringing the topic, because actually I'm currently involved in a project in Etsy for developing the concept of reputation management in blockchain. So if anyone's interested, by the way, I'm not trying to sell Etsy in an event, but there is actually work done currently in trying to formalize the concept of reputation in a blockchain environment.
But it's really interesting to see that despite the challenges that we know with the broader ecosystem and every carrier is having their own islands, that things are sort of shaping up, and there are bridges and technologies that help further move ahead and allow us to better embrace those clouds, the cloudification and the digitalization, which we two buzzwords, but words that we heard over the last 2 days. Looking ahead, as conscious that we have about 5 minutes left, but looking ahead, how do you see automation moving forward? How does automation in the future, if I can call it this way, what does that look like for you? Eran, Shahar, you were going to talk. Go on.
I was just saying, Eran correctly mentioned that currently most of the projects are, let's call them bottom up. So we take a use case and we automate it, and we create an island of automation. Most of the SDOs are going top down, so they try to look at from the top and create some sort of a standard, and eventually those two will need to meet in order to be able to fully automate end-to-end process, to make sure that the attributes used in the quoting and ordering are the same attributes actually used in the real service, which is actually being managed and invoiced. So we will need to merge all those. It will take time. But I guess there's no right or wrong here. Both approaches are needed. Not only, it's not that one is the right one and one is the wrong one. Both need to be there in order to be able to, on one side, see the big picture, and on the other side, build the little building blocks and make sure that they eventually fall together like pieces in a puzzle. So I think this is where we're going to go, and blockchain for me would be a key enabler, because it will allow disintermediation. Because in order to get things to work in this big environment with multiple entities, typically on one side you need them all to speak one language, and in most cases you would need a top-level entity that manages everything. Now we do not want that top-level entity, and this is where blockchain can step in, because blockchain can replace the top-level entity by becoming a common source of truth, which is actually not anywhere, not somewhere, it's anywhere, and not managed by someone, but managed by everyone. So this is where hopefully we will end up in a few years.
Eran, I see you nodding.
Yeah. I mean, Shahar spoke very, very well. I would just add that, we are now talking about a term, commercial automation layer. And we see that organizations will need to look at this layer and being able to put, from one side, all the inventory, from the other side, all the commercial models, all the relationships, and just to have it, multi-party, multi-product, full automation. You want to cloudify your entire business to allow self-serve, from one side, and then many partnership across different types of product lines. And we're going to see, growth of utilizing this commercial automation layer to provide this. It won't be just about, doing, as Shahar said, one project here or one project there. It will be a do or die thing. If you are not able to provide fully automated solutions to your customers and to consume it from your partners, you won't be able to play the game in a few years. And this is it.
Good. Rico, the last 2 minutes, automation in the future.
I also see that we have to do this, otherwise we will not survive in this industry. So we are doing now step by step each process part to be automated, and I think this is a bright future of innovative collaboration between carriers when we use these interconnected carriers, this maybe based on blockchain, and we can use also the data derived out of this APIs and interaction, and I think it will lead to a lot of benefits for the customers in the end, and will be much quicker as we see the industry today.
So cool, good. So plenty of developments ahead, and a lot of opportunities to move on with those. Any last words you'd like to have on before we close this session? Automation in one word for you, Shahar.
Well, to anyone here in the audience, if you haven't started your automation journey yet, it's already too late. So start now. Start yesterday.
Eran.
I will end with a sentence: automate or die.
Pressure is on Rico.
Well, automate step by step, and do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Okay, I think it's a good last word. Just do it. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to have you with me on this panel today. Hope we get to talk to each other soon. And over to you, James, for the voice session with Telegeography and Orange.